to my channel. So today's video is going to be one that's been quite requested, and I've seen these kind of going around on the internet, like questions that girls want to ask their mom but they're too afraid to ask. And yes, I say mom, by the way, I'm from Birmingham, everyone in Birmingham says mom. But basically I just wanted to do like a girly chats like video where you guys send in some questions that you kind of want to know the answer to, and me being now 20 will hopefully have at least enough work experience, at least enough life experience to be able to give you some sort of answer, basically. How do you tell your mom you started your period? This is a difficult one because I think it depends on the family. Like for me personally, I was 13 and I was up like at 2 AM playing Minecraft or something. I didn't even know. No, I was 12, and I was in year 7 and it was the summer holidays and I was just sat playing Minecraft, and at 1:30 in the morning I went to the toilet and there it was, my pants were like red, and I was like, oh my goodness gracious, what is going on here? So I kind of was just sort of panicking on the loo. My mom walks into the bathroom and like half asleep, I think, like she was like going to the toilet, I think, and she saw me and then just saw the situation I was in, and literally she opens the cupboard, she like throws a pad at me and she was like, we'll talk about this in the morning, because she was just too tired. And then we had a conversation about it the next day and I've been fine. But if you're worried about telling your mom, A, don't be, because your period is something that's natural and it happens to everybody. I would just say to her, hey, I've just got to tell you something, my period started this week, would you mind giving me some tips, tricks, advice? Like turn it into like a question where she can give you advice and she can tell you things, because if you do that, then that means that you've turned it into something proactive rather than just giving it her for her to react to, if that makes sense. Periods are obviously nothing to be ashamed of, and it's something that you carry on learning about all the way through your teen years, about best ways to cope with it and what feminine hygiene products to use and everything like that. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. If you're worried she's going to react in a really negative way, just make sure you do it in a situation where, you know, she's got time to process it and time to give you the advice that you need, if that makes sense. So that actually brings me nicely on something that I wanted to talk about in today's video. Lillettes are currently encouraging people to keep on switching, i.e. switch your applicator tampon to a non-applicator tampon like these ones. Going from a tampon with a plastic applicator to one with no applicator is one of those small changes that you can make in your life that makes a massive difference to the environment. So far, 98,000 women have switched from applicator to non-applicator, and that's the equivalent of 28 million less plastic applicators in circulation, and that's like in counting. So there's more and more. Every time somebody switches, we're saving more and more plastic. Naturally, it's a decision that you have to make yourself, and there should be no shame in using applicator tampons, but the ones from Lillettes come in a variety of shape and sizes to suit your flow, and they're very, very easy to use. I personally switch mine up depending on the flow day of my period, whether it's a heavy flow or a lighter flow. There's one for everybody. Plastic applicators naturally have a lot of single-use plastic, which is really not good for the environment. And honestly, non-applicator tampons are not as scary as I think people think they are. Once you've actually got used to using them, I don't think you would go back. So if you want to look about the options available to you with feminine hygiene products, then go and click the link in the description and learn a little bit more about everything that Lillettes is doing at the moment, and see if that's a change that you think you could make, because one little change is one big difference over time. What to do if someone likes the same boy as you? This is such a rubbish situation to be in, especially if it's one of your friends and you both like the same boy, and it's like, well, what do I do now? There are different aspects to this situation. Like, you have to think about this carefully. Number one, if it's one of your really close friends that also likes the same boy, you'll both need to quit it, because ain't nobody got time to be falling out over a male. Literally nobody. Sorry, my camera moved, but we're back. I just don't really see the point in falling out over a male, unless this male is literally the love of your life, which I doubt at this age he will be. There is no point, 0 point, zilch, nothing, nada in losing a female friend over a guy. Not that guys aren't worth it or anything, it's just that, like, if you've had a friend in your life for ages, you shouldn't let the fact that you both like the same boy, like, get in the way of that. I would say just talk to them and just have a conversation about it and be like, right, are we gonna like leave this, or is one of us gonna try, or whatever, and just leave it, because honestly it is not worth the hassle, the stress. Like, losing a friend over a boy is so not something you want to be doing, just believe me. The next one is, I'm torn between wanting to pursue someone and focusing on myself and my grades. Okay, Alright sis, this is where the tea is gonna come in. Look, boys are a distraction. Okay, any significant other is gonna be a distraction. I'm sorry, I hate to say it. No matter what you do, if you are pursuing somebody else romantically, feelings always gonna get in the way of that ish. I'm not being funny. But the extent to which feelings are gonna get in the way is something that you can determine. I personally did not really talk to boys in that way until uni because, quite frankly, I did not have the time. I don't think I would have been able to fit a boy into my A-levels. Like, I don't know where they would have gone. And I was barely just managing to juggle all my plates. At uni, yes, they are distracting, but they're only as distracting as you let them be. I'm not gonna lie, like, I think it's a bit of a double-edged sword, because when it's going well it's distracting, but also when it's not going well it's even more distracting. So be careful, but also I would say, like, don't not talk to guys because you want to, you know, get the top grades, because at the end of the day you are capable of talking to a guy and doing well in your exams. You just have to balance your time well, and you just have to make sure that you don't let it become like all-consuming. And if you don't let it become all-consuming, then there's no reason why you can't talk to a guy and pursue a guy and also do well in your exams. You just have to be really vigilant and just make sure that the balance isn't tipping. And as long as the balance isn't tipping, it's fine. I personally feel like it is doable to do well in your exams whilst also talking to boys. Like, I just don't, the two can go together, especially at uni. School is a little bit different because A-levels are like all consuming, but especially at uni it is doable. The next one is one that it actually saddens me, like how many times this question came up, like, because I feel it, okay, and I've never had a boyfriend and I'm still a virgin and I'm 18/19, is that weird? No, it's not. Please, like, honestly, okay, right, we're gonna get a bit deep here, we're gonna have a little chat, and it's gonna be an important chat to have. Look, when I got to uni, very quickly realised that I was like not one of the only virgins, but I'd never had a boyfriend, I'd never had sex, all of this stuff. And I felt like so much pressure to just sort of like find a guy or like have sex, because that was what everybody else was doing. At uni especially, it's like mad hookup culture at Oxford, like everyone's just sleeping with everyone, and like I was just there like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to sleep with someone like just off the cuff. Like, I would want it to be in a relationship, which is personal preference obviously. But then all the way through first year I just felt this pressure that I was still a virgin and I was still single, and like I was like, fucking hell, like I'm just gonna be alone forever, this is horrible, like maybe I'm unlovable, maybe this, maybe that. It's just not the case at all. Like, I can't stress to you enough, it just doesn't matter like when you lose your virginity or when you get a boyfriend. I am still single, I've still never had sex, and I am 20, and like I'm okay with that. And it's a question that you guys ask me a lot actually, because I think I don't really talk about it particularly. But I watched Anastasia's video the other day where she was saying she's never had a boyfriend because she just feels like she's not found the guy, and that every time she talks to a guy it's just not quite right or whatever. And I've been on dates and I've like seen guys, but like it's just never gone anywhere. And my first year particularly was pretty messy when it comes to guys, and I've just never been in a situation where I'm like, yeah, I think now is the time where I want to do it. And I'm sure that time will come imminently, to be honest. It will be like soon, I imagine, at this point, because I finally do feel ready. But up until this point, if I'm honest, I just didn't feel emotionally ready. I didn't feel prepared to do so. But it can be really horrible seeing all your mates in relationships having sex, thinking that you're like the odd one out and that it's weird. It's not weird at all. You've got your whole life ahead of you, and I know I need to practice what I preach because I worry about this all the time too. I really do. Like, it's something that I think about all the time, but it's okay to still be single. I have never had a boyfriend, as I've said, and it's no mark on my character. It's not like I've not had the chance to have a boyfriend. It's not like people haven't asked me out. It's more just I have not found the right guy, and that's okay. Do not worry, do not press your little heads. It will all happen in due course. Time will take its course, and like, there's no need to have sex by a certain age. Like, just do it when you want to do it. Like, at the end of the day, I feel like the time will come where it's like, now is the time, and it will all just naturally flow. Don't force it, because then like you're just going to feel bad for forcing it. So don't stress, do not worry your little heads, we will be fine, and just carry on enjoying your life. Yeah. Next one is, do I have to shave down there? Body hair is a whole other kettle of fish. The short answer to this is no. And from the guys that I've spoken to, not that it matters what the guy thinks. They have preferences, but at the end of the day, as long as it's not the friggin' jungle down there, I don't really think they care. I personally have very dark body hair. So look at my eyebrows. Imagine that, but just everywhere. It's very thick. It's very hard to manage. It's awful. And like from the age of like 12, when I started shaving, like if I shave, it goes red and bumpy. If I wax, I get ingrown hairs. If I trim it, it just looks messy. Like there are so many things that I've tried, and like none of them have quite got where I want them to be. I'm now at the age of 20, after like 8 years of experimenting with countless different hair removal methods, have kind of got a method that works for me, which is that I shave most parts, I wax like the bikini line, I trim the bikini area, and that works for me. If you exfoliate, if you use the little exfoliating pads, that tends to get rid of ingrown hairs, so try that if you haven't got a method yet. But don't worry about shaving down there. Like again, like it's the same thing as with like the whole virgin question. Like it's fine, it's not as big of a stress as you think it is. Like honestly, as long as it's just kept tidy and you're happy with how it looks yourself, I don't think it matters. Like if you feel comfortable, I personally don't feel comfortable when I'm not like shaved down there. I just feel like I like it all trim and proper. But if you don't feel comfortable doing that either, then that's fine too. Somebody said, I started my period a couple of years ago and I haven't got it since. Should I be worried? Okay, so there's two sides to this. I personally feel like if you have a break in your periods and you're not sexually active, then it can just be for other reasons. I didn't have a period for the best part of a year during my GCSEs because I was just so stressed. I think my body was just like, no, not today, Satan. We're not dealing with periods. You've got other stuff to deal with. And I never ended up going to the doctors or anything. And now my periods are relatively regular. Although if I am at uni, they're less regular because uni is just quite stressful. But that being said, a couple of years is a long time to go without a period. You're obviously not pregnant because it's been a couple of years and a baby would have popped out by now. But I would say, yeah, I'd probably go to the doctors just to be sure and to check, because it's better to be safe than sorry. And yes, 9 times out of 10, it's because of stress or because of some viable reason, but it could be something more serious. And I think it's just better to check. Like, it's just better to know. So I would go to the doctors, but don't, like, worry about it. It probably won't be anything serious. The next one is, how do I handle crushes in general? Lol, I'm hopeless. Lots of love. Bro, crushes are... they can take over your day. I'm telling you something now, like... it depends on the type of crush. Because there's a type of crush where you just look at a guy and you're like, oh yeah, you're really nice to look at. You know what I mean? And that's fine. When you've got like a crush, as in like feelings for someone, you sort of put yourself in the bin, don't you really? Because they just take up all your thoughts and you find yourself doing things because you think they'd like them. And you just find yourself behaving like an absolute mug. And I used to watch like all of the films, you know, like Bridget Jones and stuff, and like the woman would act in such a stupid way. They'd do something really stupid and I'm like, what are you doing? Have you no common sense? And then somebody throws feelings into your head and bam, you find yourself doing the most stupid stuff, and then you feel guilty for doing stupid things to try and impress them. And oh, sis, I feel you. I would say what I do now is I'm like, look, let's risk assess this ish. Is this crush likely to go anywhere? If not, in the bin. First off, if it's not likely to happen in terms of like logistically or just in terms of like they've got a significant other or whatever, then just be like, well, it's not going to happen, so what's the point, right? Just admit that they're nice to look at and move on. If it is more of a viable thing, then take action. Okay, this is very hypocritical coming from me, who will literally just stare at a guy and hope that they get the hint. But, you know, I have asked guys out, and sometimes it's better to just be like, hey, do you want to go on a date? Like, or should we go and get coffee sometime? Or should we go and get a drink sometime? And 9 times out of 10, they'll probably say yes, because 9 times out of 10, they probably fancy you too. Like, you know, like, you never know. You don't know these things. And I spent like so much of first year like having crushes or having feelings for people and just like not really like dealing with it properly. And then that just ends up getting messy. Like, whereas this year, if I've got a crush on someone, I'll let them know. Just let them know, because then they'll either say no and the crush has gone out your brain, or they'll say yes and you get to go on a date with them. So, a win. But yeah, feelings suck in general, bro. I'm filming this on Valentine's Day and I'm here like, yeah, no. How to deal with body image issues? Well, as someone that has spent their entire life dealing with body image issues, like serious body image issues, this is a question that I'm yet unable to answer properly. But I have gone through a complete like roller coaster in my body. I like literally had like eating disorder when I was younger. I starved myself to the brink of like, I was so skinny. I looked awful. And then I went through a point around uni where I naturally started to fill out, like my hips just got bigger because genetics, and also I started to gain weight because, you know, at uni you do just gain weight because you're eating more and like you're working and you have a lot more alcohol and things, and that was really difficult to deal with. And now I've kind of got to a body weight that I think is kind of my natural state of being. And no, I'm not as skinny as a lot of other girls. I'm a size 12 on the bottom. Well, I'm a size 10 to 12 on the bottom. I'm an 8 to 10 on the top, but honestly sometimes I have to buy a 14 on the bottom and I have to buy a 6 on the top. Like this top is a 6. Like I don't understand how sizes work, but I would say body image is something that, because of the society that we live in, because of social media and stuff, it's always going to be a difficult one to deal with. But that being said, you need to just remember that at the end of the day, if you're healthy, you're fine. Like there's, honestly, you can spend hours agonizing over how influencers on Instagram look and stuff, and whether this top makes you like feel like rubbish. But I would say the key things for me for body image are to dress according to my figure, so I know what suits my figure, and I'll always wear stuff like that because then you feel more comfortable in yourself. And to go out your comfort zone at least once a week, wear something that, you know, is a little bit out there for you and makes you feel a little bit self-conscious because you're pushing that boundary and feeling familiar with yourself. Eat as well as you can, but don't beat yourself up if you don't eat well all the time, because especially at uni it's impossible to eat well all the time. Make sure you walk places and just get exercise, not necessarily to lose weight or anything, but just to feel good in yourself. Like I walk everywhere in Oxford and that makes me just feel like I'm keeping my body fit and healthy, so then it doesn't matter what my body looks like on the outside. And my last tip is to just get comfortable with yourself before anybody else gets near your body. I think for me that was the big thing for ages, was that I wasn't comfortable in myself, so how was I going to be comfortable with anyone else being in the vicinity of myself? Do you know what I mean? So make sure that, you know, you look at yourself in the mirror naked and you try on new things and you just get yourself figured out before anything else. And if someone on your Instagram feed is making you feel like crap, even if it's a good friend, mute them or unfollow them, because you don't want that. You want people on your Instagram feed that reflect you, reflect what you want to see in your day-to-day life, that build you up, you know? So just you can do it. You can do it, it's fine. This one is it actually possible to have a purely platonic relationship with a guy? Yes, it is. Oh my days. Okay, this is one that I feel strongly about, and one that I'm gonna have a little chat with you about now, because I went to a girls' school, right? So I was surrounded by girls from the age of like 11 to the age of 18, and the way that guys were in my life were that my friends would be talking to guys romantically, right? So the only way that I ever saw a male was someone that my mates were having romantic relationships with, right? I didn't have any male friends. Well, okay, well, like I had a couple, but like properly male, like as in like good male friends, I had zero. Zilch, nada, none. All my friends were female. I did dance, that was all female. I did guides, like everything I did was very much female, and all my mates were female. So in my head, I think I just associated males with romantic relationships, which was such a problematic assumption to have when it came to coming to uni, because then I would just panic, because I'd be like, frigging hell, every time a guy was nice to me, I'd be like, wait, does this mean that they like me? And then you just get all like messed up in your head. It does, no. You can have a platonic relationship with a guy. Me and David, for example, I hate to break it to you all, but me and David are about as platonic as you can physically get. In that I love that boy with all my heart, and I would trust him with my life, and he's one of my bestest mates ever, but I just don't see him like that. And that's okay. There are lots of guys in my life who I love to pieces as a friend, but it is genuinely just as a friend, and it's not a case of like we're just friends and like it's secretly gonna be like a thing like later down the line. Like it's just not gonna be that, you know what I mean? Like, and that's okay. And I think it's really important to have male friends in your life. I think they give you a different perspective, they give you just a bit of balance to your female friends. It's a different dynamic, and they're such an asset to my life, like all my male friends, and I couldn't imagine my life without them. But they're friends and that is all they're ever going to be. And that's such a healthy attitude to have, is that you can have guy friends who are just friends, you can have guy friends who become more than just friends. Like, it is very difficult to navigate, but also, you know, not everybody's straight in this day and age. So just trying to talk about this in terms of like, oh my god, like girls and guys just can't be friends, not liking each other, like, it's just not true. There are situations where I've tried to stay friends with someone and then we've just realised that we're not really friends, and then that's just made things problematic. But that's not your fault, and like, that's not saying that that happens with every male-female relationship that I have, do you know what I mean? So I'd say, yeah, it's a tricky one to navigate, and sometimes you'll find that, you know, you do develop feelings for a guy, but sometimes you won't, so it's fine. Okay, somebody asked, like, how do you kiss? I haven't had my first kiss yet. Is that weird? How do I kiss? Blah, 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 blah. Right, honestly, kissing is just like, I honestly do, I do this all the time, yeah. I'm like, kissing, if you actually think about it, it's just so weird. Like, it's just two people's mouths just sort of touching each other in like a really weird way. I just find the whole concept really bizarre. Anyway, kissing people, I feel like, again, I hate to say it, but it's just like a trial and error situation. There's definitely errors involved, believe me. Like, my first kiss was, it was questionable. It was questionable. And the ones I've had since have not been that bad, actually. But I feel like, again, for me personally, I feel like a kiss is better the more I care about a guy, and like the tighter our relationship is in terms of like, you know, how many feelings I have from him. Like, whereas I've tried to get with people in clubs and stuff and I'm just like, no, it's not for me. If it's for you, literally fair play, but it's not for me. But I would say kissing is something that you just have to kind of learn about as you go, and I think it will come to you more naturally than you think. I think you think, oh, like, this is just not going to make sense at all, but actually when you sit down and think about it, it won't be as bad as you think it's going to be. Like, I wouldn't stress. Okay, and the last question for today, because there's so many, let me know if you want me to do a part 2 of this by giving this video a thumbs up, by the way. But the last question for today is, how do you get a boy to like you back? And if you like somebody else, how do you get over him? Right, to get a boy to like you back, I hate to say it, and this is going to be such a generic answer and you're all going to hate me, but at the end of the day, there's no real way of getting a boy to like you back. He either likes you back or he doesn't. You know, there's no point in playing, you know, like hard to get, or don't try and mold your interests to fit his, because that's not going to make them like you anymore. If a boy likes you back, a boy will like you back, and the only way for you to find out about that is to either ask one of his mates or to ask him himself, to be honest, and just be like, hey, I like you, do you like me too? But that is a very hard thing to do, which I'm aware. And there are some times where a guy will be like, I do like you, and then still proceed to just screw you over. So honestly, as with most of the issues in this video, there's no real clear line of how to know when a boy likes you back. You know, people are sometimes like, oh, they're like physically like affectionate with you and they don't punch you and like, you know, like they do. I'm like, just honestly, like, we're not 12 anymore. Like, if you like a boy, realistically the best way to find out if that is a mutual feeling is to communicate with him. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I know it's easier said than done, but sometimes you just gotta bite the bullet and just do it, you know what I mean? Like, there's no other way other than to just be like, hey, kind of fancy you, do you fancy me too? And we'll see how it goes. In terms of how to get over a boy, oh god, I feel like, again, it depends on the situation, depends on the extremity of the relationship with said boy, if it even was a relationship at all. But sometimes I think it's worse trying to get over a relationship that was never actually a relationship. It was more just like a situationship, like a thing that you can, they can be like, oh, we weren't together, but like you knew that it was like more than that. That's always really difficult. Like, my friends have definitely said that that's really hard to deal with. But there are different types. There's like little casual flings, there's full-on relationships, so it's really difficult to say like how to get over a boy. But I would say that, first off, just don't beat yourself up for being upset about a boy, because look, at the end of the day, it happens to the best of us. You know, we're not all robots, we all have feelings, and if your feelings get hurt, that's going to be hard to deal with. So first off, get rid of the feeling of guilt and just accept that that's how you feel, accept that you're really struggling. Second off, focus on yourself. It sounds so cheesy, but at the end of the day, the best way to get over a boy is to focus on you, the things that make you happy, and your friends. When I've been struggling with boy issues, I think the best thing that I can do is put my energy into something that is productive and that I can do, so like my academic work or socialising with my friends. delete them off everything, or at least mute them off everything for a while, just so your brain has a bit of a time to kind of just separate the feelings from the person. If you need to wallow in it, then definitely wallow in it, you know. Listen to sad songs, watch rom-coms, eat chocolate, do it, because if that's what you need to do, then that is what your body's telling you need to do. For me personally, I did a bit of both. I've done a bit of wallowing. I've been a wallower. Hate to say it, but I've also just got really active and like gone out and seen my friends and socialised. But I understand that sometimes you just don't want to socialise, so it's not a linear process. Like, you'll get there and there'll be a day where you sit and you think, oh my god, I've not thought about them today, or oh, I've not got upset about it today, and you're like, yes, win. But that along with it, even when you're at that point, you still have days where you're like, oh god, that was really rubbish, what happened to me? So just vibe with it. If you're having a bad day, you're having a bad day. If you're having a good day, if you're having a good day, that's all you can do about it. And it will get better, and another person will come along that will make you realise, why the hell did I even bother with that person in the first place? So keep going, love, keep going. So that is everything for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. I feel like there were so many more questions that we could have gone into, so if you want me to do a second part of this, as I said, do give it a big thumbs up. Huge thank you to Lillette's for sponsoring this video. I really hope that you guys make the consideration as to whether you want to switch to non-applicate tampons. I did about a year ago and I love them, and I don't think I would use anything else now. So think about the planet, think about yourselves, you know, it could be the option for you. And yeah, I'll see you very soon with a brand new video. Bye guys. Mwah.